An essential part of Newtown High School's educational and cultural exchange with the school in Lleonart, China is the involvement of its students. And those students who have traveled to China as part of the program are the core of a new student ambassador program to discuss what they have learned with their fellow students. Here today to talk about this program are Amanda Friedman, who's a NICE assistant program coordinator, and Marina, Lleonart-Calvo, and Nicole Davis, who are two students who went to China and are now part of this student ambassador program. So guys, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what is the student ambassador program at the high school?
Well, we have within it, we call it NLAP within the high school, and that is basically a club where we have 4 separate smaller groups where we have fundraising committees. We have, what else would we have?
We have a cultural awareness and publicity committee, as well as a committee that does the itinerary for when the students from Lleonart come to Newtown High School for activities for them to do.
We have culture awareness and promoting not just the culture but also the program itself and trying to get the students involved.
Originally the program was started as a student support group in conjunction with the partnership with Lleonart. So right now it's technically called the Newtown Lleonart Ambassador Program, but because of NICE and its global expansion, we have to eventually change the name.
Sure.
But basically, the students at the local level at Newtown have an opportunity to promote the partnership, promote cultural awareness, and take part in scheduling activities for any delegation visits.
Right, and some of these students have gone to China, like Marina and Nicole. Some of these students, though, are just supporting the program.
Yep, either they just have an interest in promoting the partnership or gaining leadership experience, learning more about other cultures, or they're interested in applying to study abroad, or they are going to be going on the trip in April.
So really, if you're a student ambassador under the NLAP program, you're doing all those various aspects of fundraising, talking.
Well, yes, we started, for example, we had our first fundraiser last year with Yankee Candle, and that not only allowed more students to get involved, but the community itself, where we would ask our neighbors, we would ask friends around town what they like to donate, and with these funds, what we would pay for is basically, essentially, any activities that the students from China came and did here. For example, we brought them to New York City for a day where we walked around, or we took them to the Toys R Us, and then we also used these funds for a Yale. They went to Yale on this special tour, beautiful, and that allowed them to experience the big American college experience. The one thing that they come and want to know about is what's college like in the United States. And then we also were going around into guidance classrooms to talk about cultural awareness. We introduce it with our program, but then where our intention is to help them understand the differences in cultures, the importance of understanding, accepting, and relating to these differences, because essentially any differences among cultures aren't really differences, because the ultimate purpose of everybody is to live.
So as part of the program, to take them around to really the important part of the exchange program is not only the educational component where they're in the schools integrating with the students and the teachers and seeing how different things are taught. It's getting them out and around to really experience the culture of America.
Absolutely.
And when you guys were over in China, did you experience that same type of a program?
Very much.
Yeah, we basically did the same kind of experience that they had when they came to our school. And since we had to stay with the host family, we would stay at the host family's house, go with the student to school, then spend the day at school, go back to the host family's house and eat, and we would have to return to school after that because they have a longer school day. And then after that, we would be able to do any activity with their family. We would go out to eat or go find their friends, and they also had different activities scheduled for us. Like they had a ping pong tournament because ping pong's a very big thing at their school. And we also had a bunch of cultural immersion.
Now, how was being over in China? Like, what things did you find that were common? What things did you find that were different? And was it very difficult for you to be over there at times?
The only main difficulty was really the language barrier, for me at least, because I don't speak Chinese. So I had my host sister was able to communicate between me and her family. But other than that, we were able to do basically everything together because you can just kind of understand body language. So that wasn't a problem at all, and it was just a really fun experience.
Now, Marina, you've taken part in the Mandarin course at high school, so you actually were able to communicate a little bit better than some of the other students who went with you.
I did have an advantage when it comes to language barriers. I was able to communicate with my family pretty well. I mean, it was difficult at times for specifics, but other than that, I mean, the essentials, to be with them, to understand, and any certain barrier that that you do need to pass, that was it facilitated that. But it was, being with the family was by far one of the most enriching experiences I think a student could have. I mean, it's such a different culture, but at the same time, as I said, all those differences come down to one thing. We all have the same goals, and we all want to enjoy our time. And while we do things different ways, it's all for the same purpose.
And now, are you guys keeping in touch with your students that you became friendly with between the exchange programs?
Yes, we all exchanged emails with not only our host siblings, but the other students at the school, because they were just all really excited to see American students at their school. They would run up to us and take pictures and ask questions. So we exchanged emails. So I currently contact like 3 or 4 students from their school, and we just talk about what we're doing at school or what activities we're doing, how we've been, about our family, about everything.
And Marina, same experience for you?
Same, absolutely the same. I mean, and it's just great because you meet older students, then younger students, and you go through them, even the college process. Like, they're informing us about how it's going for them, what college they're going to, and how much they enjoy it. So it's just a parallel life, but in a different country.
And the NICE program works in concert with Lleonart-Calvo and administration to try and create a mutual, to the best of our ability, a mutual hosting experience. So very often, students who will be coming from China here, or vice versa, our students going over there, we try and set up similar relationships with families. And it's very interesting. I'll be going to China for the 3rd time this April, and each time you go, it's amazing how small the world can become just by making personal connections with people. And that's, I think, also for students, teachers, and anyone who's involved with the program, that you find that personal connection really valuable in addition to all of the other experiences you're afforded.
So now, when you guys completed your part of the program by returning from China, that really could have been it for you. You're not really required to do anything else, and yet you've now volunteered to continue on and to actually, through this student ambassador program, speak to other students to let them know more about what the China experience is like. And so why did you decide to do that?
Because there's still so much of a culture that we need to understand, and there's still so much that needs to be done for other people to understand, because part of it isn't just experiencing it for yourself. Part of it is getting other people to understand the differences, the similarities, and the benefit of such a program. And it needs to be opened up. People need to understand what a great opportunity having something like this opportunity is. And that's part of our responsibility. And I think that's a responsibility that we should take for granted and that we need to fulfill.
And with the program going more global, now that we're expanding the partnerships with different schools, it's important to just talk about the importance of diversity and just knowing different cultures all around the world, not specifically just with China. And it's just really important that people understand why it's necessary to understand other cultures and why it's necessary to have those relationships in your life and how important it is to have them.
So what's the reaction to your fellow students when you go and speak to them about your experience in China? For those who didn't really have an interest to go to China themselves, or may not be as plugged in or focused on the benefits of this program.
Well, they ask a lot of questions, and it's interesting because a lot of the perceptions of the culture that you have before going are the perceptions that people around the world still have, not just in the US, but in other countries too. And so it's fulfilling to be able to come back, respond to their questions, and make them understand how great it is to actually, I want to say, verify stereotypes or prove them false. which is our main concern here, because you come back and those who aren't interested eventually do become interested because you talk to them about the differences, and those differences attract people. They want to understand and see how such a culture really works out, or how they work.
And some students were just solely interested in our experience there because they would either be friends or just classmates who wanted to know like how we reacted to their school and the differences and similarities. But also some students, after talking to them, they decided they wanted to be a part of the partnership and they wanted to be a part of the program, so they either applied to go to the trip to China or decided they wanted to be a part of our student ambassador program at the school and help promote the partnership.
So do you think this is making a difference between relationships between China and our country? Do you think, and not necessarily on a global level, but in a way that the people view each other?
Absolutely. I mean, on a personal level, it changed my perspective completely. I mean, I didn't understand anything or not much about the Asian culture, and doing this changed my perspective, and I'm sure everyone else's.
It completely changed mine as well, because I really didn't have that much knowledge about the Asian culture at all, or China, and I was able to host as well as go to China, so it just really enriched it broadened my horizons and just made everything a lot better. Like, I know a lot about China now, as well as I know a lot about the students I formed direct relationships with.
It just increases understanding and liking.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Well, it sounds like it was a wonderful experience for all of you, and thank you for coming to share those experiences with us here on the program. You can learn more about the Newtown High School China Initiative by going to www.newtown.k12.ct.us and clicking on the icon for Newtown International Center for Education. So thank you for taking time to watch Newtown's World. I'm your host, Gary Davis. Until next time, live well. 1, 2, 3, 4.